Hi, my name's Alex Rotella. I was involved with the Black Box at Artist Exchange starting in 2004. I was in Christmas Carol almost every year after that point. Started off playing Jacob Marley. I also played Bob Cratchit, and I played Ebenezer Scrooge in a few productions. The first time we went to the Park Cinema, and also the presentation we did at Rhodes on the Patuxent, and had an absolute blast. I started my involvement with A Christmas Carol at Artist Exchange back in 2004 and participated for almost 10 years after that point. And Christmas Carol changed a lot, just as we all did. When we first started off, it was just a few of us in the Black Box Theater in all black costumes, and we were mostly focusing on characters and telling the story. As it progressed and it became an annual celebration for Artist Exchange, we took the production to Park Cinema and also Rhodes on the Patuxent, and costumes got more colorful, more sets, more props, but the heart of the story never changed, and that Black Box family telling that story of A Christmas Carol was always there. My favorite production of A Christmas Carol would have to be the year we took it to the Park Cinema when it had first opened. It was exciting to take our little show from a theater that seats 35 to a humongous space that was 1,100 seats. We had to adjust everything. Our movements needed to be bigger and broader, but also we were flying in sets with backdrops, and everything was just bigger. When we opened, we had a huge snowstorm, and we were all pretty sure that not a lot of people would make it because it was treacherous outside. But we were all surprised that most people made that trek through the snow in order to come see our production. And I think we opened to almost a full house at 1,100 people. And the magic in the room was just tangible. It was absolutely incredible to see all of the work and the love that the family at the Black Box had put into the show, given to that many people to brighten up their spirits for the holidays. Being in A Christmas Carol over the years, a lot of things changed, but one of the things that was always constant was our space in the Black Box. The black walls, the black tile floor created a very intimate experience between us and the audience, and an experience that you can't get in many other theaters because of the size. And we were all very good at using that space to create a very comfortable and magical environment when it came to A Christmas Carol. So when we took the production to the Park Cinema and then later to Rhodes on the Patuxent, we had to get used to using that space and filling it with our story. One of my best memories from the year we took it to Rhodes on the Patuxent was the energy we had in the room because of the size. There was 2 tiers in Rhodes on the Patuxent, and everyone was sitting on that first level, but you still have another level to fill with not only your voices, but the music and the singing and the story. And we had a bunch of kids come in from schools to sit in on a performance and enjoy the Christmas Carol. And I was on stage as Ebenezer Scrooge in between the first and the second act, pretending that I was sleeping in bed. And hearing the kids and their laughter and their excitement filling that big of a space was something that I'll never forget. I played Ebenezer Scrooge a few times in Christmas Carol for Artist Exchange, and it was an honor and an absolute privilege every time. The show is challenging. It's not without its difficulty, but it's some of the most fun that I've ever had. You really want to take the audience on that journey with you. And for Ebenezer, you start off in a place where the audience doesn't particularly like him in the beginning. He's hateful and he's rough. And by the end of the show, hopefully, they can feel that holiday cheer and that joy and see what an example of that he is. And that's a really nice arc that Charles Dickens creates. He also creates an incredible world where you get to play with things, for me, like being a younger man playing an older man, which was really fun to get that physicality and sort of his cold, wiry, stiff nature and turn that into something that's really fun and vibrant at the end, although he still is an old man. Also, you get to play with an English dialect, which is always fun, and it's a period piece, so you get to travel back in time a little bit and see something different when you're sitting there in the audience watching the show. And for me, it was just really important that we grounded it and we made sure people were invested in the story so they could go on that journey with us and hopefully leave the theater ready to celebrate Christmas with their family and have that spirit deep in their heart. I think something that really stuck out to me and was definitely different than my first impression. A lot of us see Christmas Carol or the different interpretations, movies, or even go see the show when we're kids in school. And you do catch the gist and you have a lot of fun. But when you start to read Charles Dickens' work and perform the show, especially at the Black Box, you start to see a lot of heart in the show. And it's pretty incredible when you mix the heart that's already there in the work with a bunch of people who love what they're doing and are trying to spend their holiday bringing that joy to other people. You really get a lot of magic. And it's something that's absolutely incredible to watch, but also to be a part of. My favorite scene to perform without a doubt is Ebenezer waking up and realizing it's Christmas Day. It's an incredible scene to watch, but in the middle of it, being in it is indescribable. You spend the whole entire show being miserable and cold and stiff and grumpy and mean. And that's the time that you finally get to express all your love and joy with the audience. And you hope that in that moment, they forget about all the things that happened before they came to the show, and they take a little piece of that Christmas spirit with them when they leave. So it's so fun to yell and scream and jump on the bed and rejoice. And the feeling you get from the audience is something that I will never forget. The most important message in A Christmas Carol to me is it's never too late. We see that in Ebenezer Scrooge, and he eventually sees that in himself, that if he continues to go down the path he's on, it won't turn out the way he wants it to. And it's okay. It's not too late to say sorry. It's not too late to take responsibility for your actions. And throughout the course of the play, hopefully that is reflected back on us, whether that's over the course of a lifetime, over the course of a year, or even that day that you see the show. It's never too late to let people in, to put your best foot forward, and to really care about other people. I have so many fond memories of Christmas Carol behind the scenes. We all have so much fun, and it's so exhilarating to start the process. We spend months rehearsing up until the show, and you get all of these incredible folks in one place at the same time working towards one goal, which is bringing this story to life, and hopefully it's magical and memorable for the audience. But we had so many silly goofs and belly laughs along the way, year after year. Something that was always in my mind and I'll never forget, and it brought a smile to everyone's face, was incredibly fun, was having everyone right before the show was about to start in a circle in our get up in our garb, ready to go, and having Mark Carter do our warm-up and having him do Deo, and just seeing everyone's faces light up and the smiles and the excitement, to me, is really what brought Christmas Carol to the stage and made it magical for people. And that was some of the most fun I've ever had. The absolute joy of working at the Artists Exchange were the folks. They are some of the most talented, kindest, most loving, generous people you could ever meet. And that's what made the production so special. Christmas Carol is one of those shows where you can throw a lot of bells and whistles at it. Big, expensive costumes, lavish sets, props. And although you do that, it doesn't really bring much more to the show unless you have a lot of heart. And that's what makes the production at Artist Exchange different, is the heart. And that heart is the folks. Once they start to roll in the theater and the Christmas music starts to play, it's a feeling like no other. And that is the love and the soul of all the folks at Artist Exchange. It's absolutely incredible. And for me, there is no production of A Christmas Carol like it. I'd just like to say a very Merry Christmas to everyone and a Happy New Year. And to quote our favorite Tiny Tim, God bless us, everyone.